Happy Throwback Thursday to you all. Welcome in. We are going to talk a little bit here about the Diamondbacks series victory over the Orioles. I got my guy Dalton Feely to talk, of course, snake ball and a little bit about MLB. And I'm also here to introduce my new co-host, Lourdes Gurriel III. All of this is happening in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX Dbacks podcast right here in Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as your mayor of PHNX. I'm joined for the first time by my new co-host, interim co-host, Lourdes Gurriel III, aka LG3. And of course, we also got our guy, Kev on the mic, large intimate Kevin Thomas. Kevin, how are you today, sir?
I'm great. I'm excited to be joined by our guest today.
Yes.
Because he is a legend and always entertaining.
Yeah. Lourdes Gurriel III. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I guess things apply to both. We have two guests
apply
today.
to both. Both are electric.
One special guest and then another one we're going to get to in a second.
Exactly. But of course, this show is brought to you by our friends at Bet365 and Game Time. Make sure you download the Bet365 app and use our code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Also, over at Game Time, use that code of PHNX. You'll get $20 off your first order on your tickets. So go see some live events, have yourself a good time. So happy to have you guys here with me today. Very excited to be joined by our guest, of course, our friend, the one and only Dalton Feely, locking it down for us in New York, as always, a very prominent Snakes fan. Happy to have you on, sir. And did you freeze?
Yes.
I think you might have froze. He's back. He's back. Our internet connection will be good. Welcome, buddy. Good to see you. Are you here with me yet? All right. Well, we'll bring Dalton right back.
A blistering start.
Just a great start. Yeah. No, I mean, internet connections be damned. We're going to get Dalton in here one way or another. But one of the things that we're definitely going to talk about here is the series against the Baltimore Orioles, and just being a little satisfied with the Diamondbacks' thorough victory that happened yesterday. More importantly, Corbin Carroll being absolutely on fire. And I think, is Dalton back? I think we can get him back in here. Maybe. Yes. Hey, buddy.
You guys kicked me out. I didn't even get to make an entrance. A big shebang. I got kicked out. What the
Get
heck?
out of here. Good to have you here, man. Thank you for holding it down in New York. You putting your life on the line to be a Diamondbacks fan during that Yankee series, and we very much appreciate that.
Listen, yeah, I was getting a lot of hate for those 3 days. It was tough. There were some threats on my life. I got put into a corner at one point. It was tough, but we made it through, won the series more importantly, and now the Snakes are back, and let's roll.
Snakes are back, baby. Yes. And I mean, obviously a big part of the reason why they're back and why they've been honestly in all of these games so far this season has been Corbin Carroll. He extends his on-base streak now to 13 games. He's just been electric, man. And I mean, I think that my first thought is, or I guess I'm wondering from you, when you saw Corbin start the season with a radical change to his batting stance, were you optimistic about it, or did you have your reservations as many people did?
I think he needed some sort of change, whether it was physical or mental, because that first half of the season last year was very brutal in its own right. The second half was obviously really good. And I didn't know if there's any massive changes from the first half to the second half, but consistency was the biggest thing we're looking for in Corbin Carroll in 2025, especially jump out of the gate, have a hot start, unlike last year. And he's done that. The change with his hands, he said it wasn't a big deal, but noticeably, like, I wouldn't consider myself a ball knower in terms of like looking at a stance and be like, oh, that's right, that's wrong. But I could visibly tell his hand position was completely different. And so I thought it was a big change. And the changes have worked.
it's significant, but we also know that his swing had problems. I know we talked about on this show quite a bit that, his swing path at one point was very flat, one of the flattest in Major League Baseball, just kind of through the zone. And obviously he made some changes to that, but it's always funny when Corbin kind of underplays some of the, differences or changes that he makes, right? It really is not a big deal to him, but you can't deny looking at his batting stance that it's radically different from what he was doing last year. And yeah, the results are there early.
For sure. And I think the big thing, like eye test wise, that I've seen is that he's gotten to that high fastball a lot better this year than he did last year. Because that was a pitch that if you're scouting Corbin Carroll, you're tying him up and in with that fastball. He wasn't able to catch up to it last year. And this year, he's been mashing that breaking ball, but he's also been able to hit that high fastball this year, which has been a huge reason why he's been off to a hot start this year.
Yeah. Zach Zent in the chat says, better swing, but less wiggle. Was it worth it? Was it worth it to have less Corbin Carroll wiggle there? Maybe, probably. The results are there so far. Abby also misses the wiggle as well. Hey, like you said, though, I mean, the fact that he doesn't have like known weaknesses now, like that high fastball is a big improvement. I'm just wondering a bit about the Diamondbacks' overall lack of chaos, lack of base running, not lack of base running, but really pushing the action on the base path. Do you think that that's just a matter of the kind of the information being out that the Diamondbacks are going to run, so they're just being, I guess, conservative on the base path?
A little bit, yeah. I think 2023 was obviously the big chaos season with all these guys running the bases like maniacs, which was very fun to watch. Yeah. Last year, it took a step back. And this year, I think it'll come. I'm a little surprised Corbin doesn't have a stolen base yet. He's gotten on base. I know he's had a lot of slug. I'm okay with trading the stolen bases for some slug, especially when you lose Peterson and Walker this offseason. They needed to get more slug, and Corbin has been a big component of that so far in that Diamondbacks lineup. I would expect like McCarthy, when he gets on base, we're going to see more chaos from him. Corbin is going to steal his bags. He's going to get his for sure. AT, he's fast. He's not really like he's a sneaky not base like stolen base guy, but I still think he'll like get better in that department. I really want to see just once this year a Josh Naylor steal a second base, and he's ran a little bit this year too. But I want him to steal a second base, get up, and like rub the dirt off his whole uniform and like flex on him, be like, let's go.
I love it. I love him so much. And like I was talking on yesterday's show about Naylor and the fact that he's like far more eloquent than a lot of Major League Baseball players. And I think you can understand when I say this. It's not the eloquence. It's just the fact that Josh is willing to give us like good answers that explain quite a bit. And sometimes when he takes the time to do so, I'm just kind of amazed by how thorough of an explanation he gave us. Yesterday, we were talking about like how mental of a game, baseball is. And on his home run, he basically kind of set up the pitcher with the way he acted like, oh, that fastball on the outside took me by surprise. And I wasn't ready for that, knowing that the pitcher would go back to that. And then that was the home run he hit. Right. So like he's just been a fantastic addition to this team. The home runs just aren't there yet. We bring Naylor in for the power, and we haven't really seen that out of him yet. I just think that, again, this is it's all about adapting to new circumstances, right?
Absolutely. With Josh Norton, I think I might have said it on the program this offseason. I was curious which Josh Naylor we were going to get in terms of power, because in 23, he was more of an average hitter, but he had 30-something doubles. And last year, he had 30-something home runs. The average took a dip. Right now, we're seeing more of that 2023 version in Josh Naylor. He's batting like over 330 this year. He's getting his doubles. He's just not hitting the home runs yet. Hopefully that comes. And he takes the Jock Peterson role in terms of the power production. But right now, if he continues to hit these doubles, get on base, it'll be a huge for that Diamondbacks lineup.
And Tanner brings up, it seems like Naylor gets topspin on every line drive. And yeah, I mean, there's also the defensive mistakes the Diamondbacks have been making, and Naylor kind of gets a little bit too much blame for that. I think you would agree a little bit that like we haven't seen the strongest throws being made over to first base. We haven't seen the strongest defense. And, obviously you don't have like this safety net known as Christian Walker over there, who constantly would make everything look catchable or look like it was easy when he would get to it. And we knew it wasn't, but like now without Walk over there, you can tell that, like, again, this isn't all on Naylor. A lot of it is just the fact that Christian Walker was able to handle bad throws, short hops, things like that really well. And now you kind of see the mistakes being made, and it looks a bit more like it's on the fielders that are getting the ball to first than it is on necessarily Josh scooping the ball out.
Yeah, I think there's just been a couple plays that stood out in bad moments that Josh has had so far this year.
Yes.
Where people and hand up, like, oh, my hand's not even on the camera. Hand up. Am I going the right way? There it is. Hand up. He like, there were moments, the flip in Yankee Stadium. Like, that was one on Corbin Burnes' debut. It's a big moment. It's a tie game. You got to have that play. And there's probably another one that I'm blanking on, but there are certain moments so far where Naylor, those are plays that he would even say, hey, I got to make these plays in the future. These are plays I will make in the future. It just hasn't. There's been a couple of whoopsies so far.
Yeah.
I think it'll get better. I hope it'll get better. It does look worse because you're taking over for a three consecutive Gold Glove winner at first base in Christian Walker. So the shoes in defensively were very big to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. Big game Brandon showed up yesterday in the finale. Diamondbacks thoroughly beat up on the Orioles, and it felt cathartic. Torey talked about how, his little ejection and the fact that he just got to say all of the things he's been wanting to say to an umpire, kind of let him have a good night's sleep, right? But it felt like the Diamondbacks also went through that a bit. It felt like, yesterday's game was the first time we've seen a complete win from this team where they were firing on all cylinders. And again, the starting pitching was solid. Brandon gave them everything that they needed to win. Obviously, the offense really popped off with the 9 runs, but they didn't need more than 1 or 2 with the way that Brandon was pitching out there yesterday. Refreshing to see starting pitching over the last 2 starts get back on track, considering how sketchy it looked in the beginning of Merrill Kelly's start in game 2.
Big game Brandon was nice. It's funny. I believe when he started against Baltimore last year, I think that's the only other time he started against Baltimore in his career. I was at Camden Yards for that start. He went 6 innings, but he didn't strike out a batter. And so I was a little worried going to see in this start, because it's mostly that same lineup outside of Santander, right, for the most part in Baltimore. So I was a little skeptical, a little worried. Hey, it was a messy day back in May when he pitched in Camden Yards. Was it a one-time thing or whatever? He looked fantastic. I'll admit I had a meeting yesterday at the beginning of game time, so I missed the first 2 innings of the game. But when I was able to lock in and watch yesterday, it's the best he's looked so far. He did not have his typical blow-up inning, which is huge. Because if he can limit not giving up those big innings, he's going to be a very good pitcher. And I believe that's why the Diamondbacks wanted to give him that 5-year deal, because you see most innings he's locked in. It's just that 1 inning he'll give up. Usually in the 5th, he'll give up 3 runs.
Yep. And again, 3 runs by a starting pitcher is still enough to get you to win a game, right? Like, so that's the consistency there from Pfaadt you're absolutely right, is a big reason why they extended him. What were your thoughts on seeing all these extensions? Like, the Diamondbacks have extended a lot of guys successfully, a lot of young guys. They gave our guy Jerry P an extension. They gave Justin Martinez an extension. Like, I mean, is this the exact thing you hope for a baseball team that you root for to do? Or do you find it to be a little risky just in regards to, how they could perform now that they have a long-term deal?
I think first and foremost, it really shows what the Diamondbacks are building culture-wise within the organization, because a lot of these guys that they've signed to extensions are younger players who are under control, arbitration control, or pre-arb guys. So Mike Hazen and company are giving these guys money early just to be like, hey, you guys have proven so far, you've been a great asset to the team. We think you're going to get even better. And by us thinking that you're going to get better, we will reward you by giving you money early. Like, Justin Martinez is like 23 years old. Pfaadt's like 26. Perdomo's 25. These are young guys entering their prime in the MLB level. So I'm pumped. I'm ecstatic. And it's been well earned. Like, J Mart to begin the year, knock on wood, has looked electric. Jerry freaking P has been arguably the second best offensive player in the Diamondbacks lineup. And if you told me that I would have been like, "Uh-oh, what happened to the rest of the lineup?" But he's looked amazing. He's
Yeah.
not swinging and missing. I think he's like top 5 in whiff percentage, and he's not swinging and missing. And he's working great at counts. Working great counts. He's been everything you want in a guy of Geraldo Perdomo's role. He's been fantastic. Jamar's been fantastic, and Pfaadt's been a workhorse since last year. He just gives you 6.
Yeah.
It's either a shutout 6, 2-run 6, 4-run
Yeah.
6. He'll give you at least 6 and turn it to 10.
Well, obviously, his starting pitching has been a big concern for this team, right? What they've been doing lately at least gives you a little hope. And I mean, I don't know. I don't let the start of the season drain me of hope when it comes to some poor performances. It's just we've been through this, and this is once again another starting rotation that we believed was going to be really strong, and then they come out and aren't, right? And again, it's early in the season. There's a lot of things going on. We know that Torrey kind of made some mistakes there in regards to Corbin Burnes's scheduling and him starting the season and all of that. But I feel like as we go along, we've already seen it out of Zach Gallen, having his bounce back outing there in New York. Merrill Kelly's had 2 good outings. Brandon Pfaadt comes out and is excellent yesterday. Like, it feels like as we move along, we're getting the starting pitching back on track, and the defense obviously plays into that, right? Like, we've seen these long innings get longer because the poor play defensively, and then the starting pitchers get frustrated. They give up more runs. And next thing you know, you look in a starting rotation that should be much better than this, still has an ERA close to 6 this season. And it's not ideal, but you got to feel like this is trending in the right direction and is going to get better for all of these guys. I mean, even Erod had 12 strikeouts in his outing and he gave up 4 earned runs. But I mean, come on, 12 Ks, you can't be upset about that.
Yeah, it's really funny because a lot of the struggles early on has been early on in games. It was 6 straight games where he'd given up a run in the first inning, and that's not a recipe for success. You don't want to start these games from behind. The Diamondbacks were really good at last year at taking leads early in the game. They scored a lot of runs in the first. They scored a lot in the ninth. The pitchers, outside of Wednesday, had a consecutive streak of 6 games, allowing 1 run or more in the first inning. Pfaadt shuts it down by giving us no runs through 6 shutty, which is awesome. I don't want to overreact, but there was a world if this continued to happen where the first inning had been a struggle. Do they go back to somewhat of an opener role just to set these guys up, get comfortable? It's like, hey, take the first inning out of the mind. It's something different. I don't want to overreact, but it's the thought if it continued to be a struggle.
Well, there's an overreaction happening. I mean, Diamondbacks fans are overreacting to this, and understandably so, because we've seen this movie before and we don't want to watch it again. So we're like, don't give me a starting rotation that I think is going to be one of the best in baseball that ends up in the bottom 5 inexplicably. Don't give me Corbin Burnes and have Corbin Burnes now not be the Corbin Burnes that he's been his entire career just because he puts on a Diamondbacks uniform, similar to what we saw out of Jordan Montgomery last year, right? Yes, factors and variables play into it, and same thing with Burnes this year. But are you concerned about Corbin Burnes, or do you think that in this upcoming series against his former team, he's going to go out there and just dominate? He's just going to come out and kill him, I think.
I hope so. I'm not hitting the panic button yet.
Okay.
2 starts, the sample size is small. 3 is massive. No,
3, we're done. It's over. Wrap it up. It's a terrible signing, and we're screwed.
Semisonic once said it's closing time. It's over. I'm not worried yet. The command on the cutter was really worrisome in that Nationals game, but you know what? I don't want to call it a fluke. I'm hoping it is, though, because Corbin Burnes is known for his command. He's known for that cutter. That's been his best pitch. That's his bread and butter. That's why he's the pitcher that he is. And he just really did not have it versus Washington. I'm hoping that when he faces Milwaukee this weekend, that we see a sharper cutter. He's got command of it, up, down, in, out. It seemed like everything. I could be wrong. I don't have his Savant page up for when he pitched against Washington, but it seemed like he was missing to the lefty's batter's box, low and in to a lefty. So I'm wondering, was it a little bit of an overthrowing? Was it a mechanical thing? Regardless of all of that, I think he's fine. The Yankee game gave me hope. I know he only went like 4 1/3, but the 8 punch outs were there. The eye test felt okay in the Yankee game. The eye test did not feel okay in the Washington game. Let's just have a bounce back start versus Milwaukee. Get your first win versus Milwaukee. He hasn't beaten them yet. He's only faced them once, obviously.
I know.
But beat them. Come on,
do
get
it.
that under your shoulder or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, and honestly, what we saw the Nationals go on to do against the Dodgers in the following series makes it a little less, I guess, or makes it a little less like of a tragic win, right? Or loss. It felt like, you go in, you win 2 out of 3 against the New York Yankees, you go into the Washington Nationals, you expect to win there, considering they only had 1 win at that point, yet, they end up losing that series. But it's not a bad team, and it's a team that showed up against the Dodgers as well. So sometimes teams just get hot at the right time. For the Diamondbacks, unfortunately, they have some guys that are very, very cold right now. And I think my question to you is, are you more surprised that the Diamondbacks are able to do what they're doing without Gino, Lourdes, or Jake McCarthy really contributing right now? Or is that just how you see this team kind of built, that they can do it when guys are anybody in the lineup's kind of gone and struggling?
I'm a little worried because I think there's a couple guys on the roster that are big, play well for a month, play bad for a month, play well for a month, play bad for a month. It's very streaky players. And the problem with having too many guys like that, was that a little bit of a clue of who you're talking about?
No.
I mean,
I just needed to fix his hair. That's all, Dalton.
I don't know. You might have been alluding to something over here. But yeah, it's a concern. You have too many of those guys that are streaky players who are really good and really bad, because it's a 162. You got to play decent for 162. You can't play good for half of those games and play really bad for half of those games, because guess what? You're going to be around a 500 team. Gino's so funny in the good and bad way, because he comes off to this electric start, 5 home runs to start the season. And then ever since Ketel went down, I don't know if that was like a protection thing, a mental thing. It's just like, all right, he's unplugged. He's not charged anymore. He can't hit. He can't do the we know it's Gino around the bases anymore. And we need Gino to step up with Ketel out. Yeah. Ketel, obviously MVP caliber player. I'm happy they got the win under their belt the last couple of days without Ketel, because if Marte went down and then there was a stretch of not successful offensive games and putting L's early on in the column, the losing column, would have been tough. It would not have been a pretty sight to see. And then we would have reacted, panicked to what's going on with the Diamondbacks. I do, however, very happy about Jake McCarthy. Happy he got his first hit. He needed that. The Diamondbacks lineup needed that. The coaching staff needed that. We needed that.
Everybody needed it. Kurt Angle even needed it, because you can't continue to use his song and not hit. That's for sure. But we will have more on. We will have more on this man surviving Gino Suarez hitting that grand slam in New York on the other side of this break. Dalton, stick around with us. The rest of you stick around with us. We're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. We'll be back. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, of course, check out our friends at Cornbread Hemp. I love the fine products they make from right there in Kentucky, and they are always looking for a healthier way to relieve aches and pains while getting a better night's sleep. And you can do all of that with Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies. They are full spectrum USDA certified organic gummies made from flower only. They are third-party lab tested for potency, terpenes, and containments. And again, if you have any kind contaminants, but if you have any kind of reservations about what is in your product, you can look to Cornbread Hemp for a vegan, dairy-free, and gluten-free experience with no artificial flavors or preservatives. More importantly, you'll get one of the best night's sleep you've ever had with Cornbread Hemp. I know I tried it for a little bit of aches and pains I had, and I want to go back to bed right now just thinking about it. So make sure to check their products out, especially if you need help with things like stress relief, recovery, or better sleep. If you want to give Cornbread a try, they're offering PHNX listeners 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX and use that code of PHNX at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX and use code PHNX for 30% off your first order. This is The Good Life. Speaking of The Good Life, today is The Good Life over at Circle K. Why is that? Because it is Inner Circle Fuel Day, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Inner Circle Fuel Day. We did it. We made it. 40 cents off today if you are an Inner Circle member. 40 cents off per gallon from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. tonight. I will be stopping by there. You should as well. If you're not an Inner Circle member, join it for free right now. Join Inner Circle by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. But of course, go fill up your car, get yourself something to drink. If you're a new Inner Circle member, you'll get your first 5 Polar Pops for free. So go over to America's Thirst Stop and fill up your car right now. All right, let's get Dalton back in here because I have more questions for Dalton. We're switching sides now. Now you're the host and I'm the guest. Dalton, I know that you were there in Yankee Stadium filming videos and screaming your head off when Geno Suarez hit that grand slam. We posted the video because of just how awesome it was. But do you, as a baseball fan, I know Yankee Stadium gets a tough reputation. I know certain stadiums get a tough reputation. Yet when I go there, I have a delightful time with the opposing fans, and I find myself enjoying their ridicule and the banter and everything. Like, what is the experience like actually rooting for an opposing team at Yankee Stadium?
I've been doing it my whole life, so I'm kind of used to it at this point. It's
right,
just, brushed off the shoulder or whatever. But it's tough because I went to these games with like either coworkers or friends who are Yankee fans, and it's me against the world. So not only am I going to hear crap from people I have no idea, but it's also going to be people that I really care about saying, "Dalton, sit your butt down, shut up. We don't want to hear any of it."
Yeah,
and we're excited. The Geno moment was awesome. I said, if Randall Grichuk gets a hit off of Tim Hill, we're winning this game. Grichuk got the double, and I'm like, all right, we're back. It's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. And Geno just got enough. I mean, like, he was very close for Cody Bellinger to rob that home run by the fence. Like, I didn't know it was out. I'm like holding my breath, like going, and I'm like, let's go. I guess the other funny part was in my section, it was like 3 other Diamondback fans.
Yeah.
So like we were able to high five, and that was pretty cool. And then
there was that guy, and then that other guy over there.
Yep. And the rest of the stadium went quiet, and so that was a great, really cool moment, at least for me.
Okay. Well, I have to add, like you said, you've been doing this for a long time. Like, is it just all in good fun, or like honestly, does there ever get a time where like people? I feel like there's going to be drunk people that cross a line or whatever, but again, I think that some of it just might be like kind of not an overhype, but like it's not as bad as you would think going to Yankee Stadium as an opposing fan. Which way would you consider it?
I think it depends on the type of fan that person is. Because, like, let's face it, I'm not winning any altercation. I'm not looking to get in any altercation. So my vibe.
You're a lover, not a fighter, Dalton. We know that.
Yes. That's my slogan. I should get a tattoo that says it on my arm. That's my noodle stick arm. But yeah, I've had no problems. I'm more cheering on my guys than like yelling at the Yankees or yelling at Yankee fans. So I think like no one has a problem with it, because I think it becomes an issue where you start ripping on the Yankees or making fun of the fans around you or showboating. That's when it becomes
that I agree with. That I agree with. That to me, like here in Arizona, we don't really get crazy, but every once in a while, it's the one guy that needs to like suddenly be the main character of the game that needs to turn around and look at the like all the sections of the home fans and do stuff like that, right? But there was another guy at that game. Well, Elizabeth was there, by the way. We point out one of our dedicated listeners, Elizabeth. She's been known to possibly, maybe or may not be a bad luck charm, but since she was there, we can't consider her a bad luck charm anymore. She might be very much a good luck charm. Maybe the two of you together, it's a full circle and cancel each other out. But that game, there was a guy dressed behind dome plate wearing a Mets jersey and a Phillies hat. There was a fan at Yankee Stadium at a Diamondbacks Yankees game wearing a Mets jersey and a Phillies hat. So one, I can't help but wonder if he made it out of the stadium in one piece. Didn't deserve to. But my question is what civil penalty are we assessing to this man in a court of law for the chosen clothing that he decided to wear to this game?
prison and life in prison.
Yes.
I don't know. Like I had no idea this happened. So Mets jersey, Phillies hat,
Phillies hat, Yankees Diamondbacks game.
You can't do it. You can't do Mets stuff at Yankee Stadium. B, you can't do Mets and Phillies in the same outfit because like how can is your mom or dad like one from New York, one from Philly? Regardless, you pick one. You don't choose both.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
pick a side.
I think it's
pick a side.
Throw the key away. Lock them up. Throw the key away.
I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page about that. Another thing I wanted to make sure we were at the same page on is, even though it was fake, there was a thing going around on Twitter saying that Zach Hampel had been banned from all Major League Baseball stadiums. And I, for one, think this is something that we should actually make happen after he went and interfered once again with another ball in play and acted like a large man-child, proceeded to take pictures of himself on the scoreboard afterwards. Like, why are there fans like this? What do we do about this man?
A quick funny story off of this particular game. I'm coming home from work. I'm walking off the bus. I have Shane Baz on fantasy. So I'm watching this game. Kyron Paris hits the home run. I'm like, that fan interfered. Morel could have caught this ball. I think that's close enough. I don't know if he actually would have caught the ball, but I think it's close enough that you could rule fan interference.
Right.
And then they're showing the replay. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Zach Hampel. And where I get pissed off about this, Derek, is that he is a quote unquote professional home run catcher. He's the guy that should know, don't interfere with the play.
Right.
Like, that's like the one big rule.
Right.
He's the guy who does this for a living, basically. Don't interfere. I was really hoping for two reasons. Baz would not have given up those 2 earned runs, would have helped me in fantasy. Selfish, I know, but it would have been great. But B, and more importantly, like, he would have been kicked out of the game. That would have been hilarious. And I kind of don't want him allowed to play these games.
He gets life in prison next to the Mets Phillies fan guy. Both of them throw away the key.
In the hole.
Yeah. But that situation, it's like, we've talked about it a little bit. I know it does. I always feel like a connection to the Tampa Bay Rays because I call them our cousin Major League Baseball team, right? We came into the league. We exist together at the same time for the purpose of offsetting AL and NL, new franchises, right? But like, again, it's always one of those things that the Diamondbacks and Tampa have always been comparable in a way, right? Like, up until this whole ridiculous, embarrassing situation with having to play at a Yankees minor league facility happen, right? And I mean, this is this, in your opinion, as embarrassing for baseball as many perceive it to be? Like, that this wasn't thought through better, and that there weren't better, I guess, resolutions than having these two teams play at minor league ballparks in the same season?
Yes, I think there's 2 different reasons. I give Tampa Bay a little bit more slack because theirs was because of a hurricane.
Great point. Great point. Right. Yeah. It was the act of God. You literally cannot, control the fact that, other than maybe you should have addressed your roof that was made out of like a tarp, sooner than now, considering you're in hurricane country. But that's a whole other discussion for another day.
And that's totally a fair point. I totally get that. I just think like the Rays should get a little bit more of leeway because of the act of God.
Sure.
The A's, right. You're moving to Vegas. We couldn't think of a better solution. You didn't want to, we couldn't do the Coliseum. We couldn't do another park or like a different facility. I don't know. It's a bad look, and it's going to inflate some numbers. Like, I know for 2020 or 2021, I believe it was 2021, excuse me, the Blue Jays played in Buffalo because of the COVID still ordeal between the United States and Canada.
Right. Not being able to travel.
Right. So they had to play in Buffalo. And that's a little different too. But those numbers offensively inflated some of those Blue Jays players and hurt some of their pitchers. I think we're going to see the same thing, especially for these 2 teams in Tampa and in Oakland, Sacramento, the A's, however you want to call them. Tampa, we're going to see left-handed hitters have better numbers, like a Brandon Lau type. And for the A's, we're going to see these batters have better offensive seasons because it's a whole different atmosphere compared to the Coliseum.
Yeah. And I mean, you got the fact that like people are miserably cold in Sacramento right now during these games. And then yet when the Diamondbacks play them in the beginning of August, the temperatures historically are around 100 degrees. And it's probably going to be around that temperature when they play at a very hot, open outdoor stadium. So it's just a lousy situation. But one thing I
Yeah,
needed to talk. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
The only last thing I was going to say is, like, I wish I could give a better solution for the A's or the Rays, more specifically the A's, because they had time to figure it out. If there was a better solution, I would really hammer them. But
I mean, isn't there like football stadiums they could play at or something like that that had just better accommodations? Because what I've heard, especially from our guy Barry Bloom, who has been to both of these ballparks, is that like the Sacramento, like he said, at least the Rays situation is decent, right? Like it's not a bad facility. It's just a minor league park. Sacramento, you have to take this long walk to get to the home clubhouse. And he says it sucks. And it's like just awful accommodations. It's almost hilarious because AAA guys from the Las Vegas Aviators are going to get called up to the A's potentially and have worse accommodations than they did when they were in AAA in Las Vegas. It's nuts to me that this is what's happening. But I did have to discuss with you something that I find incredible and that you may or may not know. But that is the fact that there is a town here in Arizona, Dalton, that shuts down whenever Tarik Skubal pitches. Tarik Skubal, Kingman, Arizona, right? Kingman, Arizona, very small town here in Arizona. Recently, an article came out discussing how basically stores shut down, things come to a grinding halt every time Skubal pitches, just because he is the hometown hero of Kingman, Arizona, and everybody stops to watch baseball. His father is the principal of an elementary school, I believe, in Kingman, and so he's still very big in the community as well. But quite frankly, I think this is how America should operate anytime Tarik Skubal pitches, if I'm being honest with how good he's been. But maybe this is just the way we should operate whenever baseball's on. Like, let's shut it all down and watch baseball.
That's awesome, especially like when it's a small town and it's like those vibes where everyone knows someone. It's like there's probably so many people that in that town that know Skubal's family. Probably everyone knows his family, and so they probably knew him growing up. And you're like, holy cow, this kid from our small town makes the majors. Not only gets drafted, he goes to college, plays baseball, gets drafted, and then makes the majors. Wins Cy Young. So now we're not even talking about a good baseball player. We're talking about the reigning Cy Young. So
elite. That's one of the elite pitchers in Major League Baseball. He's been incredible at home for the Tigers. The numbers there are nuts. But maybe he just loves that home cooking because they very much. I just, again, Arizona is one of those states that people that have never been here tend to think we're still like a Western town. We still ride horses. We still have dirt roads. They think that's how we operate here. So the fact that there is literally a town that probably puts up signs that say closed due to Tarik Skubal pitching is awesome to me. And yes, that's Candace Montoya says it. She says, my heaven will be like that. There it is. Everybody stops to watch baseball. I love it.
I think you're leading a point where he likes his home cooking, but he might like it in his home state rather than his current team's ballpark.
Bang, bang, bang. You said it. I didn't, but I like it. I like where you're going with that. So, and I love having you on. Thank you so much for stopping by, Dalton. I appreciate you so much for your time. See you on Monday. Maybe stop by next week. We'll talk a little bit about what happened over the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. And I will tell you some good news. I'm moving this weekend, so hopefully the setup will be better for me. Yeah, so I'm moving this weekend. Got a new apartment closer to work, which is going to be really fun. The Wi-Fi should be even better, which is nice, and I'm excited about.
Let's go.
So I'm pumped, and we're going to go 3-0 this weekend. It's going to be great vibes, and if we don't do that, blame Tarik, not me.
All right, I can't come. I need to come out and get involved in the warehouse games at some point, so we'll have to make that happen. But yeah, definitely see you soon.
Awesome. All right, brother. Thank you, Derek.
Thanks, man. All right. Well, I wish we could shut it down like the way the Kingman does to watch baseball, but unfortunately we have to keep this thing going. Well, we're going to talk more about this day of not having baseball and what the Diamondbacks have to look forward to against the Milwaukee Brewers on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, of course, if you are a procrastinator like me and you decide last minute that you want to go to any event, Game Time is the app for you. You can save up to 60% off by buying tickets last minute for sports, concerts, and so much more. You can save with their zone deals, where if you don't really care where you sit, you can pick a section and Game Time will choose the seat for you. That'll get you a discount. They also have all-in pricing where you can toggle this feature, and that way there's no surprises at checkout what your taxes and fees and everything is going to be. Plus, you can also see what your view is going to be from any seat prior to purchasing that ticket. Game Time has you covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So make sure, again, if you're buying tickets last minute, you're buying them from Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Kevin, what time is it?
Game time.
Game time. All right. Also, if you need you need a team of your own, right? Sometimes you can't do things on your own. Carol Royse is the person to go to. Carol Royse and her team have been servicing the Valley right here for 3 decades, and they have 3 generations of family members on that team. Those family members will take care of you like you are family. If you are new to purchasing a home, it can be very, very scary. It can be very confusing. And honestly, at the end of the day, sometimes you don't know the best decisions to make. Carol Royse and her team can help you make those best decisions. They can help you get into your first home and game plan a route for you to eventually get to your dream home. She can also help advise you with financing. Plus, the Carol Royse team has access to homes that you just won't find anywhere else on Zillow or on realtor.com. So if you're looking to make a move, but you also maybe need to sell your home first, buy one of Carol's homes and she'll buy yours for cash. Again, Carol will make it happen where you can get from your starter home to your dream home. And if you're ready to find your dream home, take the next step right now. Call Carol Royse at 480-776-5231 or visit Carol online at carolroyseteam.com and tell them the good folks at PHNX sent you. That's carolroyseteam.com. Terms and conditions apply. Well, we have our series preview here with the Brewers, but before we move on to that, let's take a look once more at the recap from our series from the Baltimore Orioles. Diamondbacks, once again, in the 3-game set, outscored the Orioles 14-8. They out-hit the Orioles for home runs. At one point, there was just 1 home run per team in this series after 2 games, but the Diamondbacks changed that dramatically in the finale, going with 5 home runs total in the series, 4 of them happening yesterday. They were 3 for 28 in the series with runners in scoring position, while the Baltimore Orioles were 3 for 17. And the starting pitching ERA, it's great to see. Sub-4 for the Diamondbacks. Probably for the first time this season, they've had a sub-4 ERA in a series. 3.78 to the Baltimore Orioles, 6.32. And then relief ERA, priceless, 0.00. No runs allowed in this series by the bullpen. Meanwhile, the relief pitching for the Orioles also very good. 2.89. They did not allow a run in 2 of those 3 games. But again, the Diamondbacks have a good chance here. We talked a little bit yesterday about the upcoming schedule. Right now on the docket is a 3-game set starting with the Brewers at home tomorrow before they get out on the road. And we have a preview here of the probable pitchers for that series. We got Eduardo Rodriguez going in game 1. Please don't look at the ERAs here. Please, I beg you, don't look at the ERAs. Just hide your eyes, children. Do not look. None of the Diamondbacks ERAs are real right now. They're not a real thing. It's like looking at your stock or your 401k. Just don't look at it right now. It's an imaginary number. Unless you were actually going to sell, unless you're going to trade one of these guys right now, you don't need to worry about the ERA because they're all bad. That's what the ERA is. What is the ERA for Diamondbacks pitching? Bad. Eduardo Rodriguez is 0-1 with a 6.10 ERA. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but I guess I'm going to. He's going up against that dastardly starting pitcher known as TBD. Got Corbin Burnes going in game 2 with an 0-1 record and a 5.79 ERA. This is going to be his revenge game, as Steven Banana says. We got him against it's Chad Patrick, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He has a 1-0. Am I wrong about you? You tell me. I don't know Brewers pitchers. I'm pretty sure it's Chad Patrick, 1-0 with a 2.45 ERA. And then Zach Gallen going in the finale. He's 1-2 with a 5.28 ERA to Freddie Peralta, 1-1 with a 2.0 ERA. It's wild because the one thing about the Diamondbacks starting rotation is whenever we see these matchups, right? Whenever we see these probable pitchers, it always looks winnable because you're always going to have Zach Gallen Corbin Burnes or Merrill Kelly going in a series. And this is no disrespect to Brandon Pfaadt, who deserves more respect than I'm giving him, or Eduardo Rodriguez in his 12 Ks in that game against the Nationals. But, again, this is the reason why this should be better than it is. When you look and you see the Brewers have Corbin Burnes and Zach Gallen in 2 of the 3 games, this should be a slam dunk. Is it? No game, no series is going to be a slam dunk for the Diamondbacks right now. Rhys Hoskins in game 1 there going up against Erod. He's 3 for 6 in his career with a home run and 3 RBI. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks did very good against Freddie Peralta in 2024. They, as a team, slashed 333, 435 with a 444 slug. Good for an 879 OPS there against Freddie Peralta. So they've done an excellent job as far as hitting against Freddie Peralta for being such a good pitcher. But yeah, in comparison to what the Brewers have going on with their starting rotation, Diamondbacks numbers look atrocious. It's the reason why here that you have to feel like things got to start, they have to start trending in a better direction. The talent is there. You just haven't really seen the results. The defense really is tightening up, and I think that's going to be the thing that allows the starting pitchers to get better. They need that support. There's nothing more deflating to you as a starting pitcher than to think you're going to get out of an inning and have Tim Tawa or Hampson blow an easy double play that would have been made by Ketel Marte 10 times out of 10 and extend that inning. Then have another mistake made and have runs score, and then have just an inning that should have been over after 15 to 19 pitches go on and be a 30-pitch inning and just completely kind of end your day. Unfortunately, sometimes those kind of things have been out of the starting pitcher's control, but it hasn't all been out of their control. Like, the starting pitching also has some work to do to get better. So far, we've seen that out of Merrill Kelly and Brandon Pfaadt, and you have to feel encouraged by the fact that they have the talent, and this is going to get better. If those guys can get back on track, Corbin Burnes will, Zach Gallen can. He had an excellent outing. We won't call it an audition. We'll call it an outing there in New York. But this series is important, right? The Diamondbacks right now sit at 7-6, and they could come home or they could go on the road at possibly 10-6, and that makes things look substantially better in the month of April than they did at one point after losing that series to the Nationals. So hopefully the Diamondbacks can, get their bats hot. One thing that is a point of concern is they haven't been very good historically after off days. I know they weren't last year. And I think Candace, who I keep throwing her messages up on screen, said earlier that she has a concern here about the Diamondbacks having an off day after the bats got so hot yesterday. Diamondbacks finally had a day where they busted things open and, score 9 runs. And of course, the immediate day following is an off day. This is the same problem that people have with Torey Lovullo's lineup construction, right? Is things get hot and then the Diamondbacks can't keep things in a rhythm. Baseball is about rhythms. It's about, getting in a groove and staying there. That's why you always see these guys go on, hitting streaks. The hitting streaks aren't just because, like, all of a sudden they're better at baseball. It's because you stayed in a good rhythm and you were able to go out there, be consistent, take good, consistent at-bats, and help your team win. Right now we're seeing that out of Corbin Carroll with his 13-game on-base streak, his home runs, 5 home runs this year. I mean, this could be Corbin Carroll's best year as a professional baseball player yet, and that is exciting. It's exciting for this team. So far, his WAR numbers are incredible, and he is keeping up. I think he is second right now in WAR. So there's a very, very exciting. It's very, very exciting to be a Corbin Carroll fan right now. But everybody else has to keep things going, right? We need the starting pitching to help out. Bullpen has been excellent, and again, the defense really just. Like, even with the offense struggling like it has at times, the Diamondbacks have still found a way to put runs on the board. They can't keep up when the starting pitchers don't give them very much length and are giving up the runs they are giving up. But I will tell you this, you can get yourself some beautiful headwear right now if you are interested over at our merch tab on gophnx.com. It's merch store, but there's a tab you can go to with our friends at Branded Bills. We have some amazing PHNX Branded Bills hats that you can check out, exclusive PHNX hats that you can't get anywhere else, including the one with our guy got Phoenix on one of those hats. I love that hat. So let me tell you, the high quality of a Branded Bills fit is incredible. Not only Do they feel great? They have great lightweight material, but they're stretchy. They just fit better than any hat. No disrespect to the fine folks that make MLB hats, but our hats are better. And it's thanks to Branded Bills. So make sure you check out our website. Go over there to the merch tab and get yourself some, no milk hats yet, Stephen Bananas, no milk hats. But on the other side of this break, we are going to talk about it being Throwback Thursday and some exciting things that happened over the next couple of days historically in Diamondbacks history. So don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Dbacks show. Again, thank you to Branded Bills for making those exceptional hats with us over at gophnx.com. If you want to elevate your brand with some amazing headwear, you can do so with Branded Bills. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted hats, t-shirts, Branded Bills has you covered with the perfect custom headwear and clothing. They can get your brand to stand apart from the crowd. Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. Start your order and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need. They have partnerships with the Suns, ASU, U of A, and more. So if you're just looking to get yourself a phenomenal hat, you can go to their website at brandedbills.com and check out all of the hats that they have. Their Arizona hats are second to none. They're some of the best you can find in this fine state that are about this fine state. So they're a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona, and you can head over to brandedbills.com and use code PHNX for 20% off your first order. We also have some very big news from our friends at Sanderson Ford, America's most awarded Ford dealership. Ford just announced From America for America employee pricing. Now you pay what they pay on a full lineup on new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense, and no added markups. Employee pricing levels the playing field for Ford dealers as everyone gets the same set price. However, other dealers will still add addendums and add-ons, increasing that price. Sanderson Ford will not. They will give you the best customer service you can find. They have been awarded, again, they are America's most awarded Ford dealership, and you can choose Sanderson Ford because they have the inventory plus a 70-year reputation of treating customers right. So make sure to check out Sanderson Ford right now. Now is the best time to buy a new Ford with the Ford From America program. Ford From America for America employee pricing available right now. Excludes 2025 Expedition, 2025 Super Duty, Raptors, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles. Well, I am not wearing purple today, but of course, my new co-host, LG3, absolutely. He's always rocking purple. But we do have some purple news in regards to the Arizona Diamondbacks because it is Throwback Thursday, and the Diamondbacks have had some fun things happen on this date and over the next few days historically. But one thing I can't stop thinking about is how much we appreciate the pitch clock and credit it for shortening baseball games. The other day, last Throwback Thursday, we talked about the longest 9-inning game in Diamondbacks history. Well, on this date, on April 10th, 2001, during a very important season that you might remember, the Diamondbacks had one of their shortest games in Diamondbacks history. This was a Diamondbacks victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers by a score of 2-1, and this game took place in 1 hour and 55 minutes. Now, when you're talking about an hour and 55-minute game, I can't ask you to inject it into my veins fast enough. I want every baseball game to be held to a time limit of an hour and 55 minutes. That just sounds delightful to me. That means I'd be back here in studio at like 9 o'clock instead of 11:30 p.m. after I'm done waiting for Merrill Kelly all night long. That's crazy.
Sounds incredible.
That sounds incredible. You and me could actually get a decent night's sleep and my voice would have a chance to recover. It's amazing. This was another game, of course, that was so short because they did not have a pitching change in this game. Curt Schilling outdueled Dodgers starter Kevin Brown. Both of those guys were very, very good in their day. They both delivered 9 innings with no runs and 2 hits. Curt Schilling had 9 innings with no runs and 2 hits. Luis Gonzo homered off Kevin Brown to take the 2-0 lead. So yes, I'd love a cup of that right now, a cup of sub 2 hour baseball. That was tied for the third shortest game in franchise history. So there's been 2 games that were actually shorter than that. But another thing that happened tomorrow's date is Luis Gonzalez cracked a home run off Atlanta's Greg Maddux in 1999 that led to a hitting streak that would last that would reach the 30-game plateau a very memorable hitting streak, one that I believe still stands in franchise history to this day. Also, on tomorrow's date, back in 2009, the Diamondbacks were awarded by Major League Baseball the 2011 All-Star Game, announced by one Bud Selig in a press conference at Chase Field. So that very, very memorable time. I also remember that being a contentious time due to a state bill here that was vaguely racist and awful. And we got a lot of negative attention during that because, we can't ever have nice things around here. But very, very oddly important time in Diamondbacks history. They also there was also a game where they had set, at the time, the club record for most runs in a game, and that was 13, which is kind of hilarious now. That was back in 2010. It was 13 runs it was 13 runs in a single inning. That was all 13 runs in one inning against the Pirates, which sounds very much like something that would happen against the Pirates. Stephen Banana says Derek doing a show in which he has to drink an entire whole gallon of milk if they miss the playoffs is hilarious. Did you suggest that, Kevin?
I don't know. It was in the chat. I don't know. I don't know.
Kevin.
It was in the chat.
Kevin.
Kevo said,
look,
if Dbacks don't make playoffs, Derek has to drink only milk for a day. Chat what y'all think. And people seem to be behind it.
Whole milk?
But I didn't
for a whole day? That's
insane. I don't know, Derek.
I think this is a worse idea than you people not showering.
It's just
I told you not to let the chat talk you into this stuff, and here you are.
Derek, it's just some guy in the chat. That could be anybody.
It's just some guy in the chat.
That could be anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. What are we talking about? Elise says,
Elise
speaking
said,
of purple,
Derek Hall said something interesting about the City Connect this morning. Did
okay.
you hear this, Derek?
No, I did not hear this information. I was too busy trying to get some sleep. And also, they're going to be drastically different from the Serpientes is basically what he said. So hopefully purple. Okay. So
when are we getting these?
Well, there's not a lot of time left, Kevin.
That's what I'm saying here.
They are scheduled, I believe, I'm just thinking of this off the top of my head, but this date is sticking with me. I believe they're scheduled to wear them for the first time on May 9th. So we are now less than 1 month away from the scheduled date when the Diamondbacks are supposed to debut them on field. And yeah, I mean, drastically, here's what I'll tell you. I don't want to tell you part of this. I really don't. I know too much is basically what I'm going to tell you, but I don't like it. I'm going to start off by saying I don't like it. I'm going to say if you need confirmation that it's changing soon, obviously we know the old Serpientes is changing, but pretty much at one of the clearance shops, I'm not even going to tell you where it is because I don't want you to go there and buy all the same stuff of my size. It's my secret place where I go get stuff for 50% off. It's filled with Serpientes stuff. All of the cool Serpientes stuff has been put into the clearance shop. Hats, which I've never, honestly, they put a lot of hats on sale at Chase Field and team shop, stuff like that. They never put the Serpientes one on. It's why I don't own it. I refuse to pay full price for anything ever. But there is every item, shirts, polo shirts, hats. They are all at 50% off right now in the shop. So there's no doubt to me that not only are they abandoning the Serpientes stuff, but it is going to be drastically different. I still don't think that they're abandoning the Serpientes name, and I don't hate that. I know some people want it to go away, but I still think it's cool. I still think it represents a big part of our culture here in Arizona. And again, it's not really about that because honestly, isn't the Serpientes logo kind of fire?
It is kind of fire.
I've always thought it's fire. I've always thought the Serpientes logo is in fact better than some of the Diamondbacks word marks and logos and stuff. So that's something. But yeah, I've definitely received information about it being purple. I've received information about it being gradient. I've been receiving information about it having pinstripes. I've received information about a lot of things. I don't know which parts are true and which parts aren't, but so far it sounds like a monster is what it sounds like. I have to see it in person and so do you. So hopefully they'll debut it soon, but we're going to get out of here. I do appreciate you guys. I'm going to tell you this on every show that I can. Your time is your most valuable commodity, and I will always appreciate you spending it with me. So thank you guys so much. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. Kev is at KevoPost. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks. Lourdes Gurriel III is at Unito Gurriel 3 on Twitter. But most importantly, as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports, right? That's what it is. I forget because I don't say this often enough on this show. It's at, of course, PHNX_sports, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for your time again. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow with another post-game show, a late night Friday show. So I hope to see you guys there. I hope to see you at Chase Field. So until then, have a wonderful evening. Behave yourselves. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when Dalton stops by.
We all silly like the mayor.